Welcome to Cultivating Reciprocal Relationships. As you've read in your module, reciprocal relationships can be defined as interactions between individuals in which each person gives and receives in response to the giving and receiving of the other. So let's take a look at some of those interactions with the different type of individuals we face in our field: children, families, and our coworkers. Let's begin first with the children. As educators interacting with children on a daily basis, we may feel that it is easy to develop relationships with children. To be truly reciprocal, the children and their thoughts, ideas, and inclinations should have an equal place in our relationships. When challenging behaviors are involved, we might find it more difficult to develop a reciprocal relationship with that child. Let's take a look at this scenario as we consider challenging behaviors. Eric has been the Head Start teacher for 10 years. In that time, he has built a reputation as the teacher for the tough kids. This year, Bill is assigned to Eric's class because of Bill's long history of hyperactivity, negativity, and aggression toward adults and peers. 2 months into the year, the center's administrator sheepishly asks Eric how things are going with Bill. Eric replies, "Great. Boy, were folks wrong about Bill." Somewhat flabbergasted, the administrator decides to see for himself. What he observes in less than 10 minutes is as follows. Eric says to everyone, "Look at Bill. He is sitting so quietly in the circle. Too cool, Bill." When Bill answers a question about the story, Eric says, "Bill, that's right. You are really concentrating today." When transition is about to occur, Eric says, "Bill, can you show everyone good walking feet to Snack?" And at Snack, a peer asks Bill for juice, and he passes the container. Eric, being vigilant, says, "Bill, thanks for sharing so nicely." Bill has become attuned to Eric, focused on his communication, and prone to value and seek out his approval. Eric has invested time and effort communicating his unconditional affection and unquestioned value of this child. Positive relationship building is a prerequisite to effective intervention practices for challenging behaviors, and thus it is a goal one for adults and caregivers wishing to prevent challenging behavior and enhance children's sense of well-being and social competence. So how does one go about the task of relationship building? Building positive relationships with young children is an essential task and a foundational component of good teaching. All children grow and thrive in the context of close and dependable relationships that provide love, nurturance, security, and responsive interactions. A positive adult-child relationship built on trust and understanding, caring will foster children's cooperation and motivation and increase their positive outcomes at school. Next, we're going to describe some of the key ingredients for relationship building. Proper sequencing of adult behavior is critical. Simply put, adults need to invest time and attention with children as a precedent to the optimum use of behavior-changing strategies. There are 2 reasons that the sequence is so important. First, it should be noted that the protective factors promoted during relationship building can and do function to reduce many challenging behaviors. As such, taking the time to do relationship building may save time that would be spent implementing more elaborate and time-consuming assessment and intervention strategies. Second, as adults build positive relationships with children, their potential influence on the children's behavior grows exponentially. That is, children cue in on the presence of meaningful and caring adults. They attend differentially and selectively to what adults say and do, and they seek out ways to ensure even more positive attention from those adults. It is this positive relationship that allowed for Eric to experience Bill in a much more positive way than prior teachers. Another ingredient for relationship building is getting to know each other. It is essential to gain a thorough understanding of children's preferences, interests, background, and culture. For very young children and children with special needs, this information is most often accessed by observing what children do and by speaking directly to parents and other caregivers. With this information, adults can ensure that their play is fun, that the content of their conversations is relevant, and that they communicate respect for children's origins. This kind of information exchange should be as reciprocal as possible. That is to say, adults should be sharing their own interests, likes, backgrounds, and origins with the children as well. Our last ingredient is love. It takes a lot of love. Prior negative history and interfering behavior conspire to make the task of relationship development long and arduous. Adults should consider that they will need to devote extensive effort to relationship building. The easiest, most straightforward way to achieve a high level of intervention intensity in the relationship building domain is to think about embedding opportunities throughout the day. While there is no magic number, we have seen educators who can easily provide several dozen positive affirming statements to children each and every day. For children who have mostly heard criticism, it takes a lot of messages to the contrary. So I like to think of it as a piggy bank. Whenever teachers and caregivers engage in strategies to build positive relationships, it is as if they are making a deposit into a child's relationship piggy bank. Conversely, when adults make demands, when they nag or criticize children, it is as if they are making a relationship withdrawal. For some children, because there has been no prior effort to make deposits in their relationship piggy bank, nagging and criticism and demands may be even more akin to writing bad checks. Because this is easier said than done, we have provided some practical strategies for building positive relationships with children throughout the preschool day. Greet every child at the door by name. Have a conversation over snack. Conduct home visits. Listen to a child's ideas and be an appreciative audience. Give compliments liberally. Call a child's parents to say what a great day they have had in front of that child. Make all about me books and share them at circle time. Beyond these specific strategies, we suggest that educators can speed the process of relationship building by offering choices in their routines whenever possible, by carefully analyzing each compliance task and trying to shift that compliance task to a choice for children. So instead of saying it's time for painting, we can offer choices and say, do you want to paint or would you rather do puzzles? Carefully considering if some forms of challenging behavior can be ignored, such as a loud, shouting voice. This is not planned ignoring for behavior designed to elicit attention, but ignoring in the sense of making wise and limited choices about when to pick battles over behavior. Self-monitoring one's own deposits and withdrawal behaviors and setting behavioral goals accordingly. Some teachers have easily done this by using wrist golf counters to self-record or by moving a plastic chip from one pocket to the next. A strategically placed visual reminder can help teachers remember to make those numerous relationship deposits. We contend that adults get something valuable out of the time and attention they expend to build these meaningful relationships too. So let's take a look at some of the benefits educators have. The children we build relationships with will be easier to teach, more compliant, and less likely to engage in challenging behaviors. Teachers will feel more positive about their skills and the efforts put forth. Adults will begin to see the ripple effect of relationship building. As children learn in the context of caring relationships with adults, they will become more skilled at building relationships with other children as well. Providing a child with the opportunity to have a warm and responsive relationship with you means that you have the pleasure of getting to know that child as well. We recognize that building positive relationships is far from simple for some children. It takes frequent renewed commitment and consistent effort. But remember, the very children we find the most difficult to build relationships with are the ones who need positive relationships with adults the most. Now let's take a look at establishing a reciprocal relationship with families by creating a partnership with parents. Families establish a unique set of hopes, values, and goals for their children based on love, experience, and instinct. As educators, we are invited to be a part of the small circle of people who have a tremendous impact on young children's growth and learning, and ultimately their long-term well-being and success. As children are dependent on adults, it is essential to have a positive relationship between parents and teachers. Building a reciprocal relationship with families influences the overall success of the child. From the outset, teachers and caregivers need to intentionally identify strategies that can be used to establish strong, positive family partnerships. A give and take reciprocal relationship with families sets the tone for future interactions and influences the overall success of the child in the group care setting. So how can we do that? Here are some practical strategies for building positive relationships with families. To begin, learning by listening. By listening, we create a trust with families, a shared belief that we are each acting on the best interests of that child. We give value, giving attention to their input and value by listening. Before the child's first day in the classroom, we can learn about his or her family through dialogue, family questionnaires, and home visits. When you are open to listening to parents and are responsive to their unique needs and concerns, it sets the tone that you value their input and viewpoint. Embrace diversity in the classroom. We all have unique cultural backgrounds that might lead us to make assumptions about family structures or value one type over another. Take care not to allow our personal biases to impact our understanding of families and our ability to establish a positive relationship. Ask questions, build trust, and learn about families with an open mind. Value and recognize differences and embrace them. So incorporate materials that represent children's home lives, such as photos, artifacts, or dramatic play props. Another way to build positive relationships with families is to have an effective communication with them. Educators must meet the family's needs and preferences when communicating with them. Parents with English as a second language may require a hard copy of an email. Parents who travel for work may require an individualized email. And families with caregivers that pick up may require a phone call just to catch up on their child's day. Communicating in ways that accommodate each individual family ensures that openness, respect, and trust is built and maintained. Welcoming families. We need to be intentional in providing education to families about our program and what they can expect from their child's experience. So ensure that you go over the program philosophy, your educational goals, your policies, introduce them to all the staff, and the daily routines they can expect in your facility. Families can also benefit when caregivers can provide ideas for additional resources in the community. Resources for screenings, for family support groups, financial resources, diagnostic special needs services, and service referrals. Presenting yourself as a valuable and reliable resource will increase the likelihood that families will be open with you about changes in their child's needs. Creating community in your classroom. In order to provide information and predictability, There should be a daily schedule posted for parents to make a smooth transition between home and group care, and are able to discuss events in the day that were important to that child. Increase familiarity and a sense of belonging by greeting both parents and children in a warm, friendly manner as they arrive in the morning. Offering families a place to bottle feed or nurse their babies supports their family decisions and individual schedules. Allowing parents to stay for part of the drop-off transition, because the more we can ease parental distress, the more likely we are to help children be comfortable as well. We can also build this sense of community through social events in the classroom and by connecting families with common interests, and providing opportunities for parents to get involved in the center as well. This includes volunteering in the classroom, attending evening events for socializing, sharing hobbies or talents as part of a learning experience for children, or attending parent meetings. Our last strategy for building positive relationships is the program home connection. From the start, caregivers should help families feel welcome to participate in the assessment process. It's beneficial for caregivers to include families in initial goal-setting sessions, because that gives an understanding of what families hope their children will learn throughout the year. While playing with children, caregivers take anecdotal notes, and this information can be used to share stories with families during pickup times and to complete daily notes on children's biological routines and experiences. Families can add to the store of anecdotal notes collected by caregivers to create a more complete picture of each child's development and to help with intentional planning and formal assessments. This reciprocal exchange can occur informally day to day, in addition to the 2 or 3 scheduled conferences you might have throughout the year. Integral to the child's healthy development in our care is the parent's investment and willingness to make the vital program home connection. We can do this by informing parents about the curriculum and offering ideas to extend their children's learning at home. This may happen in the form of workshops focusing on various topics in the curriculum, newsletters with tips and suggestions for parents, bulletin boards with content connected to classroom experiences, a resource lending library for parents to take home information about the curriculum, or play backpacks with tips for interactions to guide parents and play experiences at home. When parents integrate these experiences in a variety of ways in their home, these become part of the home culture as well. Caring for children in their early years is a unique opportunity to engage as a team, with caregivers and family members collaborating to meet both the educational and non-educational needs of children. When we intentionally plan for strong relationships with families, we ensure a brighter future for all children. Lastly, let's consider the reciprocal relationships we build with our coworkers. The people you work with daily can contribute to your job satisfaction just as much as the role itself. When you don't get along with your coworkers, it can make for a very stressful work environment. Relationship building can be enhanced by listening. It may even be more important than speaking. By listening and trying to understand their message, rather than interjecting your own opinion, practicing unselfish understanding, and responding with insight and empathy will build a relationship on mutual respect and trust. A great way to build a relationship with a coworker is to find things that you have in common. It can be anything from hobbies, books you both enjoy, to values you both share, foods you love, or a goal that you are both working towards. Everyone loves to be acknowledged and respected, especially if the words that are shared are authentic and genuine. Treat people with respect and understand that relationships need to be cultivated with time, effort, and caring. Be sensitive to your coworkers' needs by listening. Recognize that a coworker's communication style may be different from yours. Aggressive communicators use intimidation. Complaining is a passive-aggressive approach. Submissive communicators avoid confrontation, and sulking works for manipulators. They may be responding out of habit and not based on the actual presentation of your ideas. Don't allow a difference of opinion to cause you to overreact. Value the mutual self-interest that exists on both sides of the relationship. Your coworker is likely to be just as interested in a relationship that will help their career as you are. Start by asking them how you can help with their work and career goals, which will lead to the same question from your perspective. Be a contributor, a team member, a listener, and a confidant. Be the worker that you want someone else to be.